At this time, we're going to clear the panel during opening statements. Also at this time, I ask unanimous consent that members of the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure who are not on the Subcommittee on Economic Development, Public Buildings, and Emergency Management be permitted to sit with the Subcommittee at today's hearing, offer, testify, and ask questions without objection so ordered. If you will just grab your name tags and sit in the audience for now, we're going to go through opening testimonies, and then we're going to swear everybody in a different fashion this morning and then bring you up to testify yourselves. Weeks ago, the Inspector General released a scathing report on GSA conference that cost taxpayers nearly $1 million. We've seen a lot of reports about the Las Vegas lavish vacation, the spending, and I appreciate Mr. Cummings, Ranking Member Cummings on the Government Oversight Committee, as well as Chairman Issa for discussing in great detail those lavish expenditures and the wrongdoing that happened with the Las Vegas vacation. The purpose of this committee is to talk about the systemic problem, how deep it goes, the corruption, the fraud, the waste that's not just within the Western region, but within GSA as a whole, and possibly within other agencies. This committee is going to lay out a timeline of how many trips, how many people, how much money. We're going to talk about how big of a problem this is and how deep within the administration it goes. Now, you heard yesterday the testimony of Mr. Robertson, the Chief of Staff, who's also the White House liaison and was on Senator Obama's personal staff. We're going to hear today from Mr. Peck, who for the last year and a half, I have asked, I've requested on a bipartisan level with Ms. Norton. We've sent emails, memos, held hearings, and asked for a budget that is outside of Congress's purview. We've been held up for far too long. And I'm here to tell you the buck stops here. We're not going to hold up any longer. The American public demands to see the budget on the Public Buildings Fund, the Federal Buildings Fund, and how that money's been spent. This slush fund is no longer going to be used for personal uses. When federal buildings, when other agencies pay rent into this personal building fund, it is meant to redevelop. It is meant to sell off, which we've been attempting to do for the last year and a half, sell off the properties that are unused, underutilized, and redevelop, put people back to work where we can by utilizing these funds. The public has a right to know how much money is in this fund, where it's been used, a full accountability of the past, and most importantly, what's going to happen in the future. We're going to hear from the new administrator, Mr. Tangerlini, this morning, about what has been done to reprimand those that have been involved. But again, this goes much deeper to what's already happened. Those that have been fired, those that have been put on administrative leave, those that have resigned. The American public deserves to have money paid back. And where crimes have been committed, people will go to jail. And if we have to have future hearings on this topic, you bet we will. This is about the distrust of the American public and its government. This is about the waste of taxpayer dollars. And if you can sense my anger and frustration, you should see it at home, where we've got double-digit unemployment. the highest foreclosure rate in the nation, people out of work, twice the national average. And to see these types of expenditures, to see the stonewalling by this agency for the last year and a half hiding from the public the expenditures that have been made and what's happened with this public buildings fund, you bet it's an outrage. And I'm looking forward to full testimony this morning to get to the bottom of it. I'm angered not only at the waste of money, but the fact that there would be people that the systemic issue here is that you would actually go out and brag about it. That you would insult the ranking member and former chair of this committee who chaired the committee while you were having this vacation. That you would laugh about our commander-in-chief and laugh about how you would spend this money. This goes down from the interns to those at the top. And it is a culture that we're going to get to the bottom of. And let me just issue a warning. If this continues to go on, if we continue to not only see this type of spending, we will continue to audit. If we continue to see that you're not giving us the information on a bipartisan level to show us how these expenditures are happening, I am prepared to systematically pull apart GSA to the point where we will make it a question to the American public on whether GSA is needed at all. But the wasteful spending is going to stop, and the transparency is going to begin. I'd now like to recognize the ranking member, Ms. Norton, for any opening statement she may have.